Good morning, everyone. It is 8:30. I'll go ahead and call this morning's meeting of the Clay County Board of Commissioners to order. Our first item on the agenda today is an approval of the agenda. We have a motion offered from Commissioner Gross to approve the agenda, a second from Commissioner Kaylee. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Citizens to be heard. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the board on any item that is not advertised on the agenda? Any citizens wishing to be heard? Steve, have you had any requests to speak for this?
I have not, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the payment of bills and vouchers.
Move approval?
Second.
A motion offered from Commissioner Kaylee to pay the bills and vouchers, a second from Commissioner Gross. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. The minutes from the October 11th commission meeting were inserted in the packet.
Move to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Gross to approve the minutes.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Campbell. Discussion? Discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 2 today is a proclamation for the Fargo Moorhead Metropolitan Region National Apprenticeship Week. We have our County Administrator, Steve Larson, with us. And Jason, if you'd like to come up as well, you can introduce yourself and pitch the next one.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you mentioned before you this morning is a consideration for the Fargo Moorhead Metropolitan Region National Apprenticeship Week proclamation. This board has been extremely vocal the last number of years, even prior to COVID, about the workforce challenges that we're seeing in our region and specifically Clay County. We're extremely fortunate to have multiple university systems within our region, and those education systems play an important role. And acknowledging this board has also been extremely supportive of the importance of the trade opportunities within our region and in Clay County. Specifically, the support that you put forth for the Career Academy in the Moorhead School District. The trade opportunities require skilled employees and lead to high-paying careers within our communities. This morning I have Mr. Jason Ellert from the North Dakota Building Trade Unions. He's currently the state president, and I would like to turn it over to him to say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, Jason Ellert with the Building Trades Unions here in North Dakota, in North Dakota across to the Red River. Thank you for having me here today. Really what we are trying to do with this, grateful for your support as always too for the trade education. With this proclamation, it's in celebration of National Apprenticeship Week. COVID has kind of delayed a lot of our celebrations for the last several years, but a lot of times that we find we're truly trying to get out and to talk to young people about the opportunities that exist in the trades, whether they're electricians or plumbers, iron workers, heavy equipment operators, painters, drywall tapers, I mean, everything that you see in this room and things that you don't see. Really what we try to do and accomplish with this is we're going to be hosting an event on November 14th at the Carpenters Training Institute in Fargo. It's off the interstate. Address is 513 36th Street North, Fargo. I can get you more information about it, the event as well. It'll be run from 10 to noon roughly. And we hope to have a couple of guest speakers, this proclamation that is before you today for your consideration to be read. And then also inviting career counselors from the Fargo Moorhead area to attend and to really promote the opportunities that exist in the trades and just kind of get back out there that we're looking for more young people, men and women, to look into the trades.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I am really excited about the renewed conversation about encouraging folks to look at all different types of career opportunities. And certainly this is a great highlight because this board has really supported the initiative of the Career Academy in the Moorhead School District, but also all of Clay County for those opportunities. Any questions from the board on the event or the proclamation? Yes, Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you. Jason, I know we've spoken on many occasions, and one of the things that
I find really encouraging now is the re-education of people on the importance of trades and the good opportunities available for them. You know, when I was younger, going into trades, the pay wasn't the greatest. You go into some of those deals, but that has really turned around, and so anything, and I think these apprentice programs are excellent in that regard, because they can kind of go into it and see what it's about without having to invest an entire 4 years into a college before you finally see what, you know, if you like something or not. So I'm glad this is before us today. I think it's a great opportunity to really highlight these apprenticeship programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain this board to read the proclamation together, and then we can decide action following. The Fargo Moorhead Metropolitan Region National Apprenticeship Week Proclamation. Whereas 2022 marks the 85th anniversary of the National Apprenticeship Act, and whereas National Apprenticeship Week is celebrating its 8th anniversary of raising awareness of the vital role of registered apprenticeships provide in creating opportunities by allowing apprentices to earn while they learn and preparing a pathway to good, quality jobs and well-paying careers in the communities of the Fargo-Moorhead metropolitan area. And
whereas registered apprenticeship programs enable employers to develop and train their future workforce while offering career seekers pathways to high skills valued by industry to secure high-paying careers. And
whereas the Fargo-Moorhead metropolitan area recognizes the role of registered apprenticeships in expanding opportunities in our workforce that are connect individuals that have been historically underserved and marginalized, thus providing a path for all qualified individuals, including women, people of color, rural and urban communities alike, indigenous people, justice involved individuals, and individuals with disabilities to become apprentices and contribute to the good of the region. And
whereas the Fargo-Moorhead metropolitan area recognizes the registered apprenticeship, a proven and industry-driven training model, can train our workforce and build a pipeline into good, quality jobs in order to address our nation's pressing workforce challenges, such as rebuilding our country's infrastructure, fulfilling critical supply chain demands, enhancing agriculture for energy generation, constructing permanent flood protection, and responding to other core economy issues.
now therefore, the Clay County Board of Commissioners extends its support to Clay County Chairwoman Jenny Mojo, Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney, Moorhead Mayor Shelley Carlson, West Fargo Commission President Bernie Dardis, Cass County Commission Chair Rick Steen, in the signing of this proclamation declaring November 14th, 2022 through November 20th, 2022 as National Apprenticeship Week for the communities of the Fargo-Moorhead Metropolitan Region.
Madam Chair, I'd move the proclamation.
second.
Motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to approve the proclamation, a second from Commissioner Kaylee. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you. I also then would ask that we advertise the date that Jason had alluded to on the 14th at the Carpenters Training Institute as advertised for the full board to attend if wanted, and also ask that we put it on the news flash on our website. Anything else?
Yeah, Madam
Yes,
Chair,
Commissioner.
I wonder if we could get a calendar invite to that would show the address and everything. Jason, is that something you could do for us?
Yes, absolutely. Commissioner Campbell, after this, we're making a formal invite that we'll be sending off to all the commissioners and all the representatives of the community to highlight this event. Thank you, absolutely.
Well, thank you. Certainly, Jason, we had a phone call last week. Thank you for reaching out and bringing this to our attention. And thank you for your work to provide advocacy for this area. It's vitally needed.
I just thank you, Commissioner, and I'm truly thankful for your support as well from this commission. These things, these challenges that we're facing on the workforce development piece on the side, and where Commissioner Campbell, what you talked about is that reinvigoration into the trades. Apprenticeship programs is post-secondary education. That's one of the big challenges that we face now, I think, with a lot of young people, is that not trying to disparage college for all pathways, but a lot of young people see that as only maybe a college for all or military, what are my other options? And we're hopeful that this event kind of shines that light again, that there's more opportunities beyond just the college for all, and we bring more. So that support from this county board is grateful, is very well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Item 3 today is a request to identify and approve the voting delegates for the Association of Minnesota Counties. Mr. Larson.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. We have had some initial discussion on this topic earlier this fall, but we did receive the request from AMC. By their bylaws, we are required to provide our delegates for voting at the upcoming policy and actually annually throughout the year. The bylaws identify our five commissioners as voting members, but the board has the ability to authorize 3 additional voting members to our delegate group. In reviewing our voting structure from last year, we did have myself, our county engineer, and our county planning and zoning director as our delegates. That has changed throughout the years, but that is where we were at last year, and that therefore just bringing that forward for consideration and discussion this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Questions from the board?
Is there a
Yes.
limit on, excuse me.
That's okay. Commissioner Gross, you can go.
Is there a limit on the number of delegates we can have?
8.
We are limited based.
8 is the max.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you. Steve, typically, we like to try to have delegates that we know are going to be attending. I know we've had some discussion here a few weeks ago about other potentials that could be a benefit to have there. Rhonda Porter would be one, and so on and so forth. I'm assuming that you've reached out to Justin and Matt, and are there plans to attend?
They are able to attend.
Okay.
Chair commissioners, yes.
And that's part of why we're presented with the list today. We had asked other individuals that we'd previously discussed, and they were not planning on attending that.
good,
And certainly, all of our delegates will vote for the priorities that this board has verbalized as well. So even though it might not necessarily be a highway-related item, if this board supports something, that would be a vote in support of that. Anything else? We are asked to approve the delegate list. What are the board's wishes?
I would move the presented list.
Okay, we have a motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to support or approve, a second from Commissioner Gross. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Item 4 today is a request to authorize the creation and appoint members to a Moorhead Joint Airport Zoning Board with a resolution 2022-33.
Last item again here this morning, Madam Chair. As you mentioned, the city of Moorhead is looking to update the ordinance for the Florence Klingensmith Airport zoning ordinance area and creating a joint airport zoning board. This is it's actually exactly the way in what this board has acted on for the city of Hawley earlier this year in regards to their joint airport zoning board. The requirement or the request is that we have up to two people on this board. They cannot be elected officials. And so the motion before you this morning would be to approve the creation of the joint powers, but also then have a motion to appoint Matt Jacobson, our planning and zoning director, and Steve Moore, Moorhead City resident, as our Clay County representative. I can stop for any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Questions from the board? Commissioner Campbell?
So the creation of the Joint Airport Zoning Board, typically when we enter into a joint powers there, we have a document that says what it is. Or,
Is it joint powers or a
It's
zoning
not-
board?
Yeah, this wouldn't be a joint powers, it would just be the creation of a joint zoning board.
You had,
Okay, so-
you had
there-
said joint
Oh,
powers.
sorry, I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
So then that leads me to the question, so why are we authorizing the creation of it?
Part of the resolution is in supporting what the city of Moorhead is doing, and by doing that, we provide those representatives.
I didn't know if it was something that was required that the county is the one that creates the zoning board, or if it's the city and then we're just supporting it.
That's correct. That
We're,
is,
we're not creating anything, are we?
no, we are not.
I just wanted, in here it says authorizing the creation of, okay, good, I'm good with that.
Is that clear, though? On the resolution, it says authorizing the creation of. Matt's here now. I think we've had this discussion when we did this. This is no different than what happened with the city of Hawley in regards to their
That's correct.
airport zoning piece. And so we are just authorizing the appointees
That's,
to that.
that's right, that's,
Questions? Yes, Commissioner Kaylee?
Not a question, just a comment. I sit on the Moorhead City Planning Commission with Steve Moore, and I know he has specific experience with airports. So I think that's a great fit for this position, as well as Matt Jacobson. So I would move approval of these appointments.
Just a clarification, it would be the appointment with the resolution 2022-30.
Correct, yes.
A motion offered from Commissioner Kaylee to approve the resolution 22-33.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gross. Discussion. Does this follow, Brian, have you had the opportunity to review this?
I think specifically, I mean, I think as Commissioner Campbell was saying, if you look at the fourth whereas below, the Minnesota statute that talks about creating a joint airport authority is under Minnesota statute, section 360.063. So it is just saying that you believe it's necessary and expedient to create or be part, I mean, it's really just saying that we're a part of that. So it is in compliance with the law, so I think we're fine with that.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
I guess my only thing on it was I don't think that it requires the county to authorize it. That's my,
The city of Moorhead and in the previous case, the city of Hawley specifically requested that a resolution be.
okay, that's fine, okay. I just,
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Item 5 today is a request to fill a vacancy for the Assistant County Attorney position. We have our County Attorney, Brian Melton. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So unfortunately, we did have another vacancy come up. So as you might recall, I just had a separate vacancy go, and I think unfortunately, this is just some of what we're going to see in the future, where we see people, workforce that are leaving. Oftentimes, in my case, you're seeing younger attorneys that are leaving for the Twin Cities area. And so that's basically what's occurred here in this case. But in looking to fill that vacancy at the same time, I think one of the unique things about this is that in the recent past, I lost a very highly qualified attorney who did move down to the cities, is already looking at the idea of coming back and would like to get back to this area, would like to get back to the office. So although we regularly see the reverse, individuals leaving to move towards the Twin Cities. In this case, we have a unique opportunity to bring somebody back into the office. It would be very helpful in that you'd have an experienced attorney. There'd be no training or train up. They would know the systems. They know the court already. So I think there's a lot of value to trying to get this individual back. So we are asking to hire him back at a level 6. That would be equivalent or commensurate with his previous level where he was at with a bump. I mean, when he left, he was at a 4, but would have got promoted up to a 5. But that level 6 would actually give him equivalent of what he's earning now and would bring him back here to Clay County. So that is my request.
Thank you. Commissioners? We did have a PIC committee meeting where we discussed this situation and certainly felt that the request is appropriate given the circumstances.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve the request from Commissioner Gross, a second from Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda today is a request to appoint Ashley Heng for a first 3-year term on the Planning Commission. We have our Planning Director with us today, Matt Jacobson. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Yeah, so last Tuesday, their last meeting, the Planning Commission made a unanimous recommendation to the board to appoint Ashley Heng to a 3-year term. This would fill one of the rural vacancies that are on the Planning Commission. Ashley is very involved in the community and in Clay County, and I think would be a wonderful addition to the Planning Commission.
And for the board's knowledge, on the back is her application that was presented. I know Ashley and her family, and they are very active members of the community in many different areas. We would be well served to have her part of the commission. On a side note, we did have a resignation from a member that work challenges arise, and unfortunately, Andrea Coxer was not able to serve out the remainder of her term. Andrea has been a phenomenal and fierce advocate for not only township issues, but all of Clay County issues. She's been so well liked and appreciated and respected on that board, so it really is a loss for us to not have her part of that anymore, but we all understand when work challenges come up. So while we're sad to see Andrea go, I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with Ashley in this capacity.
Move to appoint Ashley Heng
Okay.
to the commission.
A motion to approve Ashley Heng for a first 3-year appointment on the Planning Commission.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Cayley. And also to note, this is that rural Clay County capacity. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you,
you.
Matt. Item 7 today is a request from the Highway Department, our county engineer, Justin Sorum. We have a few items, 3.
Good morning.
Good morning, Justin.
So the first item I have is the approval to sell Unit 168. So this is a snow blower that goes on the front of a tractor. We bought this in 2008, and it's pretty light duty, and it doesn't really serve our needs. So I'd like to set a reserve price of $3,000 and sell this on min bid. And the reason for selling it is we did get the opportunity to purchase a heavier duty snow blower from MnDOT for $9,000. So this is not an internal service item, and we do have the budget to purchase this snow blower.
Okay. And the item that we're purchasing is also a front mount?
Correct. It can rear mount as well.
Okay.
Move approval.
Motion from Commissioner Campbell to approve selling Unit 161 and the purchase of the additional.
168.
168-1.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so we do have a motion for both items.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gross. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
So the second item I have is the approval to pay the special assessments for the joint facility. So we recently got assessments totaling $119,364.68. This is for the recent road improvements in the McCara subdivision. So the county share would be $43,977.40. So MnDOT and the city of Moorhead both wish to pay these off right away. So the cost savings of paying them off right away to the county versus financing them would be $26,089.90.
So are you looking to pay the total assessment?
Yep, so we would get reimbursed, just since we're listed on the actual land, we'd be reimbursed $75,387.28.
Okay. So you're looking for approval of paying the assessment in the amount of $119,364.68.
Correct.
And then the impact for our budget line would be the $43,977.40 after the reimbursements.
Correct.
Yes, Commissioner Campbell?
Justin, what's the line description of the budget line item that this is coming out of?
It is building maintenance.
Okay. And so that would come out of the 2022?
No, they have to be paid by November 15th, otherwise, they have to be paid by November 15th, or sorry, yes, 2022.
Yeah, it'll come out of, and you have, those funds are still available?
I would overrun that budget item because we did not know this one was coming.
Okay,
That's why I did bring it forward.
okay.
Do we know what the overrun is going to be?
So the last time I looked at it, we're roughly 96,000 and our budget is 100,000. So it would be almost the whole assessment that would be overrunning.
If I can follow up, so are there any other, just as long as we're talking about your current budget, then are there any other line items that you see as, that you're under, that could just help offset that?
I haven't taken a,
I can't imagine your fuel and oil is,
no. Not that I saw, but I haven't looked at it completely to see if there's something I could offset, but I did talk with Ann and she thought it would, obviously this would be best suited. I know gravel materials were basically right at our budget as well as road materials, so.
well, I know how the specials work. If you don't pay them, then you get that interest amount, but it seems to make sense to save that cost, so we might have to review your 2023 number a little bit down the road, but.
Yep.
Board questions?
Move to approve the request.
Motion from Commissioner Gross to approve the request.
I'd like to second it, but I'll second it, but then I would just want to ask if we can put a condition on that subject to both the city and the state also taking the appropriate action to do the same. I mean, I know it's their intent to do it.
So MnDOT has a PO already for this, and as
Okay.
soon as we pay it, we'll be invoicing
Okay.
them. And the city of Moorhead did
Did
talk
the
to
city
their-
want to take action on it?
I don't know if they took action at council, but I did talk to Steve Iverson, and he talked to his finance folks, and they said they would pay it right away.
So we do have a motion offered to pay and a second with the condition that the other parties also approve the payment.
Is that okay with? Right.
Fine.
Questions? I'm just a little curious as to how this came up so quickly. And this is,
So there was on the actual special assessment, it says when the initial hearing was, it was in April. And I never saw the
Okay.
document in April, so,
okay. Thank you.
and then the final hearing was yesterday, actually.
All right. Motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Carried. The next item is the approval to advertise a turn lane reconstruction project on Trunk Highway 10 and State Aid Highway 19.
Yes, so this is the project that we opened bids on in June. We didn't get any bidders. So I'm looking for approval to re-advertise with a proposed letting date of December 20th. So this project has $379,629.63 of construction costs covered through MnDOT, as well as a little over $30,000 in construction engineering. So this was the local participation project that MnDOT helped fund.
The city of Glyndon has continued to voice their hope that we can get favorable bids for this. It's a project of high value for them, so.
And we had to close the turn lane last week for corn harvest because the grain trucks have a hard time making that corner.
Questions?
So, excuse me,
Yes, Commissioner Gross.
why did you have to close the turn lane? What was that all about?
Because
I
the
see it's
truck-
been closed for a while.
It is a very tight turning radius, so if you, those grain trucks have to kind of straddle the line to make that corner without encroaching onto the turn lane on Park Avenue. So if you close that turn lane, they can make that radius.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Board wishes?
Move approval.
Motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to approve.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Kaylee. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Item 8 today is a request for the Resource Recovery Facility Project. We have our Solid Waste Manager Corey Bang with us this morning, also our Facilities Director Joe Olson. You have 2 items for consideration. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for letting us speak to you this morning. Excuse me. We have 2 items today. Both are involve the new resource recovery facility. As you know, back in August, I wasn't because it's before my time, but we brought before the board preliminary numbers for the FF&E. And this is just requests to get final numbers and actual hard numbers. So the first item we have is a combination of 2. It is the FF&E for the household hazardous waste of $34,108 and additional FF&E costs that have arisen of $42,031 for a grand total on this one of $76,136. Again, this is just above and beyond what you've already approved, so.
Okay. All right, questions from the board on this? We did have a tour. Thank you, Corey and staff, for being available. Representatives from the MPCA were present yesterday. We did tour through that, and it is a large facility that will really meet our needs, but certainly need to have items inside the building to allow business to go forward, and this is what Corey and staff have worked, and Joe, to work to identify what we need. Commissioner Campbell?
Madam Chair, yeah, thank you. Just a comment, I think between this one and the next one we're going to talk about, the 2 of them together, we had originally planned within our financial plan, I think it was about $175,000, wasn't it, Steve?
Yes.
And so what we're talking about taking action here today, really it's about an additional, take around numbers around 40,000 that we had not previously planned for within our financial plan. So, but at that point, Joe and Corey hadn't had a time to get into the details of the smaller things that were needed. So, so the financial plan itself supports both these requests that we're talking about this morning.
Questions?
Are we utilizing any old furniture, or is this everything has to be new for what we're going to?
As far as the furniture, that will all be new. We are utilizing some old office equipment, printers, that kind of stuff. Any, desk stuff like that, we're using that, but for the most part, the furniture is all new.
Yeah, and I believe there's a fridge potentially that's coming from another office or department, and yes, a printer, as you noted. We're trying to find equipment that is not being utilized in any of the county buildings, to move them over if possible, but sometimes that can only go so far. Commissioner Campbell?
Yeah, I think, answer to Commissioner Gross too, I think a lot of the furniture that we're talking about is stuff that solid waste did not have available to it before, because they didn't have, for example, their conference room and all those things that we're now gonna have, that they're gonna have white tables very similar to what we have here. Basically, that conference room is gonna become a learning center for a lot of things as well. So the plan is to have furniture very similar to here that can be used over there, and that's going to require purchasing new, so.
Any further questions on the list?
Move to approve the request.
Motion offered from Commissioner Gross to approve the first request.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Campbell in the amount of $76,136. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The request is granted. Item 2 is the approval of funding for the furniture for the conference room and the 6 offices.
Yes, the second item, we've gone through and gotten hard numbers. This is for $33,140. This will include all of the county offices. It will not include the city's office. We are getting close to finalizing this, and the equipment is, or the office furniture is roughly 6 to 8 weeks out.
Yep.
So we need to get it ordered so that there's no delay in that. So we request the $33,140 for all the office equipment, furniture for the offices and the scale house.
Thank you, Bill. Joe, are we coordinating with the city of Moorhead on what furniture they're getting so that, certainly they can approve what they want, but
Yep.
so that it doesn't look hodgepodge?
Yeah, I think what they've pretty much said, that one office, they'll be in charge of upfitting that, how they see. And then part of this 33,000 is the 6 offices, but also to include all the tables and chairs for the conference room as well. So it's pretty much every furniture you need for this facility, so.
Wishes?
Move approval.
Motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to approve the request in the amount of $33,140.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gross. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you very much. And after we had our small cities meeting in Sabin a couple weeks ago, I think this new conference room may be a good fit for that
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda today is a request to fill a vacancy for an RN position in our detox unit. We have our public health administrator, Kathy McKay, with us today, and our director of detox, Troy Amundson. Good morning, good save.
Good morning. Did you just?
I'm a little under
Almost.
the weather, so. Good morning, Madam Commissioner, Commissioners. Today, we are here to request, we had a recent resignation from one of our 2 RNs that work in our facility. So we're here to request that this position be approved to advertise and hire.
Okay, thank you, Troy. And so this is a budgeted position for 2023. Are you expecting a backfill request, need? Okay.
No.
Questions from the board? Commissioner Kaylee?
So do you need an RN on the clock at all times for this facility?
We do not need one on, we need one available to be on call.
Okay.
And available 24 hours a day. I do have our lead RN who covers most of that, but when she's gone, I don't have another RN.
And Madam Chair and Commissioner Kaylee, we do have to have a nurse on every shift, so the LPNs are filling those.
So you've got an LPN on every shift and then an RN either there or on call.
Yes.
I'm asking because I was wondering if, due to the 24/7 nature of this facility, if 2 RNs is functional, or, if you need a part-time substitute situation in there too, but if shift, 2 works with an on-call.
I believe we have another RN in the budget for next year. We're looking to add another one because two is not enough. This RN that we're replacing actually worked the floor too. It would be nice to have a RN that they can do additional duties, chart auditing, things like that, that really comes in handy. They can do the assessments, things like that, we ask our LPNs to just run it by the RNs before they send somebody in, things like that, so.
And while I have you here, I know that there were some problems in getting a nursing license through DHS. Has that been resolved yet, or are we still waiting on that?
Well, the nursing license through the Board of Nursing is, we're still waiting for approval for one nurse. Background checks through DHS have also taken some time, although they will give you a need more information letter where you can start them, but they don't have the official, approval, so.
And Madam Chair and Commissioner Cayley, this delay is pretty significant. We've reached out to the Board of Nursing to no avail. It's always about that they're really backlogged, which really impacts the fact that we need someone on board immediately when we hire someone. The issue becomes down to Minnesota is not part of the compact state, so even with a North Dakota license, they cannot work in Minnesota. And so that's been a push for many years to get the Minnesota to pass through legislation and approved by the governor to become part of the compact state. It's been a huge barrier, and I've expressed our concerns and our needs on a bordering community with both the governor and lieutenant governor and commissioner of health. And so, this needs to change, especially with the shortage of nurses in our area. So it's unfortunate that a nurse with a nursing license in North Dakota, right across the river, cannot work. And this delay is really significant. And so we can't operate with those kinds of delays. So trying to push it forward and get some traction, but it's been a challenge for many years.
So recently, I've been talking to our state legislatures pretty regularly about this. And just during board here today, I got an email from Paul Marquardt saying, if you have folks that are waiting on licensure, background studies, those things, to have them reach out individually to those state legislators to share their story, so we can try to attack that from the individual seeking the licensure angle. So wanted to share that.
Go ahead. Commissioner Campbell?
This is important information, and I really think that, and I know, Kathy, I'm sure you've lobbied hard for the exact things you're talking about here. I don't know that our board has taken any formal action in support of this, and I think that we should address a letter of concern from this board to the appropriate, the governor, the lieutenant governor, and you said the director of
Commissioner of Health.
The commissioner of health, and whoever you think is appropriate, that we have some deep concern about the lack of time it takes, and also the issue regarding the border cities and somebody having a North Dakota license not being allowed. I mean, yeah, we have probably Moorhead people who are licensed over in Fargo and go over there.
Correct.
But they can't be here.
Because that's where our hospitals are, so that's.
Right, right. So Madam Chair, I'd move that we'd send a letter out expressing our concern regarding the issues that Kathy has addressed this morning.
Second.
So there is a motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to send a letter of support addressing the licensure restrictions and
Background
timeline. Pardon?
And background studies.
Everything that causes delays and inabilities to hire.
Okay, there's a motion offered from Commissioner Campbell, a second from Commissioner Cayley to address those issues. We'll work with Steve then to draft that letter. Steve, does that work? Thank you. Questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. The agenda, advertised agenda item was that there was a RN resigning. We do need that filled. It is budgeted. What is the board? Questions, comments on that?
I would move the request.
Motion to approve the request from Commissioner Campbell, a second from Commissioner Kaylee. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. And then in regards to future needs, I know that we're in the process of this exciting expansion and build, and certainly we've discussed the future needs of what staffing looks like in regards to what Commissioner Keeley's question was, is that adequate? We are in the process of looking at what that staffing plan would need to be, and would anticipate we'll have some further discussion about staffing rotations and plans as we move towards that facility. Questions? Commissioner Keeley?
Will we also be sending a copy of that letter to our state legislators too?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Kaylee, we certainly can do that.
Questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10 today is a request from Greenwich Revolving Trust to repurchase a property in Glyndon with the resolution 2022-34. We have our deputy auditor, Jackie Dudgeon, and associate Rita Goldberg. I'm sorry if I'm slaughtering names. Is that the individual joining us remotely?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Good morning, Rita. Can you hear us?
They're working on it.
Just hold tight for a second while we get the audio connected. Rita, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much. And we can see you. So we are just pitching the item number 10. Which of you will lead it off?
Rita, do you want to go ahead?
Oh, sure. So I am representing Face Servicing. We're the servicer of the mortgage. It looks like the taxes were delinquent for some time, and both of the original mortgage holders are deceased. So we're looking to hopefully repurchase the mortgage so that we can recoup on our loan and alleviate some of the hardship on the state and having to maintain this property. I believe all of the delinquent taxes have now been paid off. I got a confirmation email from the deputy auditor that she received the check. So happy to answer any other questions if the board has questions.
Thank you, Rita. We appreciate that. So to clarify, the payment has been received. Okay, so then the next action would be to approve the resolution 2022-34. And this board typically discusses items like this that fall within criteria, and it appears from the testimony that this certainly would fall within that because of the hardship of the two deceased individuals. Yes, Commissioner Campbell?
I just, excuse me, there. I just want to ask, and it's, typically for this to go back to the state, that takes a number of years of delinquent years of unpaid taxes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. From 2018.
2018?
And I don't know when these folks were deceased, but it seems to me that why is it at the last minute that now these taxes want to be paid up and the property put back? I understand what their goal is here and to recoup, but I'm just curious as to why these taxes weren't paid sooner as opposed to waiting for it to go through this process?
Sure. So we actually didn't receive, Greenwich Revolving Trust wasn't assigned the mortgage until July 2022. And so the servicer wasn't even aware that these taxes were delinquent to this extent until we received the mortgage. And then immediately, once we found out that the taxes were delinquent, we started making payments to the county. So we did this as fast as we possibly could once we actually learned that this process had occurred.
Okay, and that's, I guess that's, I just wanted in the record that there was something that indicated that you know, the current people that want to pay it, that hold the responsibility of it, of the mortgage.
Right. The prior mortgage company, they didn't have it, the taxes and insurance were not escrowed. And so therefore, when it went delinquent, then I don't know if their process, if they did not check into that and then when they, Greenwich, assumed it, then that's when they found out that there was delinquent taxes. So
And the process of notification annually, who did that go to?
the process of notification
Of the delinquent taxes? Because
that goes to the homeowner.
Okay.
Yep.
But if they're deceased?
Well, the one, I believe the most recent homeowner died in February of 22, I believe, Rita. Does that sound right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. And so then there was other people that must have signed that were living at the home that signed to receive like the certified mail and so on that I had sent.
Okay, my questions are answered, thank you.
Questions? Board wishes?
I'll move to approve the request.
Motion offered from Commissioner Gross to approve Resolution 2022-34.
Second.
And a second offered from Commissioner Kaylee. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you, Rita, for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Item 11 today are the committee reports. Commissioner Campbell, would you like to start today?
Okay. On the 18th, we did have a Personal Issues Committee meeting, and the sole purpose of that was to discuss the county attorney's request that was brought forward this morning, and that was the recommended option by the PIC committee as well. On the 19th, we had a solid waste committee meeting, and the purpose of that meeting was to discuss the furnitures and fixtures list that Corey brought before us this morning, and also just to, again, review a little bit of the agreement between Clay County and the city regarding the, what would be the utilities breakdown going forward. And so we just reviewed that, what Joe has been working on there. On the 20th, we had a West Central Regional Juvenile Detention meeting. All is going well there. We had a significant discussion about non-member rates and per diems. And that number was, we reviewed what other agencies are paying throughout the state for non-member rates. And our previous non-member rate was $320 a day. And our group agreed that number should go to $350 a day. So we did approve that and set that. We did have some discussion about the 2-year look back and the way this formula works right now. We have one county in 2023 that, because of credits from previous years and then lower usage, they won't be paying anything in 2023. And when I first learned of that, I found that quite interesting. So we're having some discussion, and I've asked, we've talked about it a little bit. We talked about it with the group, and I've asked for an awful lot of historical data that I've presented to James that we're going to be looking at to see. I personally believe that every county who is a member, regardless of the 2-year look back and those types of things, should have a minimum payment that you should pay annually to be part of it. And the other concern that I have is that, you know, the one particular county isn't using us much anymore. And so you have to ask why, and is that something that's going to be something that other counties are going to be doing, and then all of a sudden, where we had our, you know, counties using it are no longer using it. And we don't, because we don't want to get into a position where we were, I think back even, Steve, when you were the administrator of that or director of that, where we had few people in there, and then the price per bed got to be really expensive. So we're just researching an awful lot of that stuff, and James has told me he'll have that information to us by early December, and then Commissioner Ebinger and I and Steve and James will look at maybe making some sort of a proposal going forward that can modify the agreement that addresses this issue. So we'll see how that goes. And then on Friday, we had our district meeting. A lot of things went on that day. It was really, I still find the most interesting is the county reports. It seems to me I get a little bit more information out of that than I do most of the other things. It was kind of interesting to see where other counties had set their preliminary levies in comparison to ours. Let's see. Then on Monday, we had our resource recovery meeting. That's a lot of things going on in preparation for the turnover. There continues to be sliding back dates of concrete and asphalt work, seems to be constantly delayed. So we'll see where that goes. They're still anticipating the end of December, turning that over to us. And then we did have MPCA was here for a tour, along with some of our commissioners who were not on that committee were able to tour the facility as well. And it's really taking shape. And let's see. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Gross?
Last Tuesday, I went up to Felton, moved into a new city hall. They purchased another building and are renting out part of it to other entities in the city. So we really have a nice place now to meet and to conduct their meetings. Friday, I too was at the district meeting in Fergus Falls, and I'm interested in the county reports, you know. I mean, I think some of them just send their levies, what their levies are. I think they just set them high, that they know they're going to be under it when they get there. But so I don't know if we got the true information as far as what each county is going to set their mill levy at. But everybody's talking about wages and stuff, what's causing the increases. Got a report from Anstein and Shack. There are several different reports from the AMC giving updates on what's happening there. Yesterday, I went to the Cracker Barrel thing as far as where they had the candidates were able, from North Dakota and Minnesota. I almost thought it was a little bit too big to be able to meet all the candidates and stuff, so, but it was interesting to see. I think there was 36 candidates there, or was it 26? I don't know.
36.
36 candidates there. It was tough to get to meet all of them and stuff like that, so, but most of them, I think most of them were North Dakota ones anyway, so, but not that, I mean, it was important to them, but for our information, it was nice to meet some of the candidates for Senate and representatives. And last night I went to the candidate forum for the city of Dilworth, where they had 4 people going for positions. They got 2 city council member openings and 1 person's not running, so it was nice to meet the 4 new candidates and stuff that are going for that. Those are my meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner Gross. Commissioner Kaylee?
Last Tuesday, I attended the Adult Mental Health Local Advisory Council. We like to highlight a agency at these meetings, and the agency at this meeting that gave like a more extended report was A Place for Hope. They shared that they have been established since 1998 as an enriching environment for individuals living with mental illness. They've had 25 new members this year, and they talked about the food shelf, which was added in 2021 to meet the food insecurity needs expressed by their members. But that food shelf is open to all. It is the only food shelf in the area where you have choice about what you take home for your family. The other food shelves make a box for you, and you just receive what you get. So it meets a real need. They also shared that on average, they're spending $2,000 a month on food to stock that food shelf due to rising food costs and the lack of availability of free and low-cost food from the USDA and Great Plains Food Bank. They also noted that their landlord is asking for an additional $1,000 a month in rent, as they've not had an increase in rent in 7 years. The landlord has been exceptionally generous, but it is a business owner, and they do need to pay their expenses too. So they're looking for that increase in rent. They're also not charging rent for the food pantry space. So thank you to that landlord for their generosity to our community through that. A Place for Hope is also looking for volunteers to help lead arts activities and to take some of their folks on outings like fishing trips in the summer and things like that. So if there are community members looking for some opportunities to engage, that would be a great place to check out, A Place for Hope. We also approved some travel expenses for the chair, Allison Wolbeck, to go to and from St. Paul for the NAMI conference, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Minnesota. And the local advisory council also approved setting up a Facebook page. So on that Facebook page, they will be sharing upcoming topics for meetings and other information. In December, the meeting is planning to focus on housing issues. So if there are agencies or folks in the community that want to talk about housing issues and mental illness and that connection, we invite you to come to that meeting. The November meeting will feature Clay County Corrections talking about mental health services that we provide for folks that are justice involved. Then on Wednesday, I attended the Moorhead Business Association meeting. Community Health Services shared at that meeting. They were formerly called Migrant Health. You might remember them from that, but they recently changed the name to Community Health Services. They are in Moorhead. And I just wanted to hear about some of the services that they provide. They provide medical, dental, and behavioral health all under the same roof and incorporate additional services like community referrals, Medicaid enrollment, advocacy, and crisis services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. They take all forms of insurance and also have a sliding pay scale. So depending on your financial situation, that's a place where you can always go for help. Then later that evening, I attended the Historical and Cultural Society of Clay County meeting. We had a staff report from Marcus, who does programming. And the new coordinator of the Nordic Culture Clubs came to share about the Scandinavian Festival will be back next year with the Nordic Culture Clubs. Iceland will be the feature country for that event. And so we talked about ways that we can work together and share fresh ideas. So thank you to Romaine for attending that meeting and connecting with us there. And then just some normal business. We approved the audit review as well. On the 20th, I attended the Clay County Suicide and Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition meeting. We had a long discussion about the mission of that particular group. And I am not finding my notes on that today, but we just talked about some different values and how we can further shape the mission of that coalition. Also, Nia Mall shared that her organization, Condiel Kell, has a summit coming up for youth in dealing with mental illness, mental wellness. They'll have yoga and mindfulness practices, and the idea is really to empower youth in attendance with strategies to take care of themselves, but also help their peers. Later that day, I attended the Hunger and Health Summit with the Cass Clay Food Partners. That was a full day of really awesome presentations on using data to inform our decisions in meeting hunger and health needs in our community. I also attended the MetroCog meeting. Mostly just some normal business at that one. We approved solicitation for accounting services and audit services and had an update on the transportation management area and the public participation plan. Then on Friday, that was Friday, right, was the AMC Region 4 meeting. That's been well reported on, but one of the things I did want to share from that meeting, I wrote down that county program aid is property tax relief. So we've been fighting for increases in county program aid for years and continue to do so as a body. But it's important that our communities and our state legislators understand that that county program aid ultimately is property tax relief. Those are dollars that we're not having to add to our levy to meet a lot of needs. Yesterday, I attended our Early Childhood Initiative meeting. We reviewed some of the events that we've had recently, like the How to Talk to New Americans About Mental Health training, and talked about some dental outreach that they're planning to do with Churches United and Micah's Mission and Bright Sky. Also yesterday, I attended the Chamber's candidate Cracker Barrel. Thank you to all of the organizations who put that on and the business leaders for attending and asking good questions. Any opportunity that community members have to hear from all of the candidates on the ballot is a good thing. So that concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Last week, I also attended the PIC committee meeting with Commissioner Campbell, and that has been reported on. That evening, I attended the Planning Commission meeting. We did have a hearing that talked about an amendment from a prior conditional permit that we had granted, basically to change the access road to a different road. We did have comments from our county engineer on that, and that did pass favorably. We discussed and interviewed the candidate for membership, Ashley Heng, and we did approve that. So thank you for this board for supporting that. On Wednesday, I attended a meeting, resource recovery. We talked about the FF&E costs that this board addressed earlier. I also attended a Detox Planning Commission meeting with Commissioner Gross, where we, was that last week? That was last week, wasn't it?
The what?
The detox meeting? We had a detox meeting.
That was 2 weeks ago.
I did not attend that last week. I attended that 2 weeks ago. I apologize. And then I attended the Lakeland Mental Health Committee meeting. We did have a long discussion on union negotiations. They did reach an agreement with the union on wages. Talked about how they are now self-funded for health insurance, and this year are facing a 30% decrease for what the cost is. So quite a substantial cost that they're able to pay forward to the employees because of their fixed costs are basically all internal. So that will be going towards the employees. And updates on access that continues to be a challenge in some of our rural clinics and staffing, but access continues to be low, or access is high, access times are low, so that's good. Yesterday, I attended the committee, the transfer station committee with construction engineers out at the transfer station. Long discussion about coordinating those final components to get the facility towards completion. The MPCA was present and talked about their requirements in terms of handing over the facility once they're towards a significant completion piece. Did have some concerns with getting power dredged in for the heating and the one component, waiting on Xcel Energy, hopeful that that will happen shortly, because as we march closer towards winter, that's concerning. And then making sure that they're able to get concrete to finish some outdoor areas as we get later in the season. We're shifting a little bit to make sure that we can not hold up certain areas when we're waiting for that. And then the wind was a little bit of a hindrance yesterday in regards to putting tin on the side of the building. We did have a tour with MPCA. They did ask great questions. I'm excited about that facility and all that it can offer, particularly the education space. I'm really excited for what we can do with that. MPC did have some concerns on B3 requirements if we were adding that in. I think we addressed those concerns early on in the process, but hopeful that Graham from Burns and Mac was able to answer their questions. And then also participated in the Cracker Barrel event yesterday. Thank you for the Chamber for hosting that, and Fargo Brewing for donating the space to that as well. That concludes my reports. Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last Tuesday, I attended the PIC meeting. That's been well covered. Also, I met with Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Eberger, and Superintendent O'Donnell in the issue that Commissioner Campbell brought forward with the funding. That afternoon, I participated in the Regional City Administrators meeting. Again, the focus there was workforce insurance, COLAs, union negotiations, all are having similar challenges. That afternoon, we talked with Scott Fettig in regards to the updated pre-design and in regards to the B3. We have our next meeting is tomorrow, and we'll be going over that design document. Talked with Joe Olson on the 19th on a series of facility projects going on throughout the county. Also met with Matt Jacobson and Kevin Kassenberg in regards to riparian aid. As this board knows, we get roughly $160,000 each year from the state to deal with riparian aid issues. We have accumulated some additional funds. Part of those funds are to potentially deal with litigation and the buffer issues that we've had. Gabe from Soil and Water has done an excellent job and has appeared to mitigate and worked with our farmers in getting those buffer strips. And so the likelihood of that litigation is not as high as it was. And so working with Matt and Kevin to look at some potential ideas for this board to consider and the use of those funds. The 19th also participated in the resource recovery FF&E discussion from today's agenda item that's been well discussed. I think it's important for the board, and based on Commissioner Campbell's comments, to just understand that the approvals that you made today are within the existing budget of that project. On the 20th, participated in the MCC JPA preparation meeting. We have that meeting tomorrow. We see the project updates. Thursday, sorry. Yep, thank you. Thursday. Negotiation summaries and a contract amendment that will be coming before the full board. On the 20th, I participated in the advisory board that's been covered. On the 20th, Darren and I met with Colleen. Colleen she's down to her final four board meetings, and so we kind of went through some of the transition documents that Colleen has been preparing over the last year in hopes of helping the new hire when they come on board. Friday, participated in the AMC district meeting, again, well covered. I think just a point of note, one of the things that I guess I heard of concern is they did discuss MCIT with the increase of interest rates. They're anticipating that the dividends will not be as high as in previous years. And so that will be something of note for us from budgeting standpoint. Yesterday at a department head evaluation, participated in both the resource recovery owners meeting and the tour that's been discussed. Had a discussion with Mr. Melton yesterday on a series of county issues. I did send out the email yesterday of the letter of support for District number 3 school in their nomination for the National Registry. So that has been brought forward prior to their deadline. Just an encouragement to a couple things for our employees. Our United Way contribution sheets are due this Friday. And so we all received an email this past week that shows that, again, we need to at a minimum, they're requesting that we provide that sheet back, whether we donate or not. And so we have some work there. Also, open enrollment, it continues. We have open enrollment ending November 4th. As of yesterday, I think we had about 84 people of our 400 plus that had turned it in. And so again, a reminder to our employees that they do have to, even if there are no changes, they have to sign the document and get that to Human Resources. A reminder to those on campus, our employees on campus, is Anna is here today at the Family Service Center until roughly noon. And so if you have any questions, clarifications, she's here, and you don't have to go out to the government center to meet with her. So again, encourage our employees to get those turned in and not have a mad rush for HR in those last couple of days. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell?
Thank you. Just a question, Steve. At the district meeting, we also learned about the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund allocation for Clay County. There was a $50,000 allocation for 2022 and for 2023. Do we know what we're doing?
We have just had preliminary discussions. Some of those discussions I've had with Matt Jacobson in planning and zoning, but we'll be bringing that forward as far as potential spending opportunities for the county.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes, Commissioner Gross.
Yeah, forgot to mention I was part of the tour of the Resource Center on Monday also. So. And it's going to be a great facility, one in addition to Clay County. So a lot of good things coming to Clay County.
It is. Anything else? If not, we are adjourned.